The old woman put something bad in the soup, Leif whispered. Someone in the outer room creaked a floorboard. Go and lay next to Svette's, Jovan said. Pull a blanket over you. Leif did as he was told. Someone approached the door to the room and began to push it open. Boy? It was Tones. If you're awake, we must leave. We can't stay here. The old woman stepped into the dark room. The fire in the main room blazed. Too much. It would catch the place on fire. A fire burned in Jovan's mind. The old woman meant to kill them and take the boy. Jovan came out from behind the door and took hold of the woman's arms as she yelped in protest. Who are you? Jovan roared. Why have you done this? Why are you not asleep? The old woman rasped. The larger the heart, the faster it acts. Answer my question, Jovan asked. A bright flash of flame burst out of the hearth as it caught a pile of kindling set out intentionally on the stones. Or I leave you to burn inside this place. The old woman said nothing. Tell me, Jovan roared. I'd rather die than admit my failure. The bear? Jovan asked. The old woman's eyes lit in glee. Ha! I don't fear him. If the bear also seeks you, then you have little time left in this life. Jovan felt a tug at his belt and looked down at Leif. Please let her go, Leif implored. There's no harm, see? Slant and Svette's were shaking their heads groggily and moved to stand. Slant wiped green from his lips onto his sleeve. How? The old woman screeched. Jovan dropped her. Tones staggered to her feet and rushed out of the room toward the door. Jovan watched her change directions, reaching for the axe not far from the hearth that now blazed. Flames were licking their way up the wall. She turned back to look at the door and the men beyond. The boy comes with me, the old woman shouted, or you'll die. Jovan felt Svette's come to stand behind him. You won't fare well, Jovan shouted over the roar of the flame. I have lived long and never failed, the old woman shouted. She took a step forward as a flame burst from the fireplace, engulfing her. Jovan slammed the door closed as the flame belched towards them. It was hotter than Jovan could stand. He fell back into the bedroom. We need to get through the wall here, Slant shouted. It's solid stone, Jovan shouted. We don't have time. We can't make a run for it through the flames or we'll all burn. Jovan caught a movement out of the corner of his eye. Leif stood in the open doorframe and looked at the flames creeping toward him. He did not seem to notice the heat. He lifted a hand. Leif, Jovan shouted. No! Jovan shut the door to the bedroom again and pressed his back to it. Even through the wood, the heat pulsed. The boy took a step back with one foot to brace himself and then pressed a hand towards the door, and to the wall the two other men fought to bash their way through. Now, Slant swore in surprise as Svette's pushed his hands through the stone wall as though he were pushing through a sack of flour. This stone is like sawdust, Svette shouted. Jovan touched the wooden door. Despite the fire on the other side, the wood was cooling and the grains of wood were less defined. The bits of light that snuck through the cracks thinned to nothing. Even the beams that crept up and along the ceiling turned to gray stone. You can stop now, Leif, Jovan shouted as Svette continued to dig through the compromised stone wall. Jovan took hold of Leif and leapt over the bed, throwing himself through the hole left by Svette's, and he crashed through. Slant came just after. The four of them landed on the ground not far from the house and turned to watch as the roof collapsed on the flames. A moment later, and the weight of the house fell off the stilted pillars and into a heap of smoldering ruin. Leif looked up at Jovan with a smile. I made the wood into rock. At what cost? Jovan muttered to himself. Your boy, Svette said sternly, is Vedmak.